Good morning. Thank you for joining Coffee and Convo Houston, live with RE and Chosen. Today's special guest, FD Sparkman. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Convo Houston, live with RE and Chosen. Today's special guest, FD Sparkman. And okay, so we're going to go ahead and get into the topic now. Recapping for us, last week's topic, we discussed independence from doubt. Now, Chosen, I know I normally have you do the recap. I would like for FD to do that recap for us today.
Okay, so we spoke on doubt and how it affects us, whether it be an everyday thing or certain types of things, whereas we're doubting that our dreams are going to come true according to what the Most High has promised us. We broke down a lot of things about the personal everyday battles that we have with doubt. And we talked a lot about why that doubt forms, mostly because of fear, things that are happening in our lives, things that come against the dream, as some would say, to keep you from getting to where it is you need to be. I mean, if you look at everything there is, the main thing about doubt is fear. It's fear that the Most High is not going to come through. It's fear that you're not going to get where you're trying to go.
Awesome.
Did I lose you?
Nope.
It looks like I lost you guys.
You did not.
So you're over there experimenting on me.
She had him in solo mode. Well, she had you feature. She has you in the feature mode. That's what she did.
Hey, you loved it. So today's topic, we're going to discuss recognizing temptation. Now, the reason why we're discussing this is because temptation is, wow, everywhere we look. Because correct me if I'm wrong, FD, temptation is the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, correct?
Correct.
All right. So with that being said, temptation is everywhere we look. Whether it be that car you can't afford that you want because your homeboys may have it, whether it be that purse that just hit the market and you need to pay your rent instead of getting that purse. Temptation is everywhere we look. So to start us off, Chosen, I want you to take the lead on this one. Good morning, Rochelle. Good morning, Jarrell.
Good morning, greetings and salutations.
Whenever you're ready. Did you just freeze on us?
Looks like it.
Talk about how a financial situation, like sometimes your financial situation can be hindered because of that temptation. People be wanting to be hood rich. Y'all remember that? Yeah, that term. Some people want to be hood rich.
Hood rich. Okay.
I want to obtain.
Hood
To
rich
obtain is one thing, but to maintain. I remember one time, I wanted I wanted the Xbox. So
You having
negotiate
technical difficulties.
negotiate with something that with a bigger obligation versus a bigger financial obligation versus something that I wanted. So I go get this Xbox, and now I'm like, the plan that I had for how I was gonna take care of this obligation, something happened with that. It was like, okay, it didn't go through, and then immediately I got that. Well, see, had you had it done what you were supposed to do instead of what you wanted to do, then you probably would not have been in this little bit of crunch. Now, it wasn't a real big crunch, but this is just an example of saying, hey, that temptation, for whatever it is that you want, the whatever that lust is, whatever you're into, what charms you, it can get pretty strong. That temptation can really get pretty strong, and it's almost an instant reality check It's an instant reality check whenever you give into that temptation to
You
do
know,
that thing, that to do other than what you are
some people view temptation as only what the Ten Commandments tell you not to do. What do you have to say about that, Frederick?
I'd say that's a pretty good one. I mean, you got to look at the fact that in most of us, before we came into the faith or whatever, we had our bad boy, bad girl side. We had those
Mm,
things that we like to go do.
mm-hmm,
Then all of a sudden, the Most High get a hold of you, and all of a sudden, you can't go do those things no more. But you used
mm-hmm.
to love doing those things. Now, the Bible will tell us that sin is pleasurable for a season. And what you will have is, you, whenever you're looking across the fence, the grass is always greener on the other side. And so sometimes you've been doing good for so long, the urge to be bad is so overwhelming because you just want to break the monotony, but you can't break that monotony because being good is not a fashion statement. So,
I like how you said that. Because most of us do run from being good because it's, like you say, not a fashion statement. It's not the end thing. We talked about before how a person is doing good, trying to stay on the straight and narrow, they get labeled nerds or Bible thumpers or do-gooders. But
goody two shoes.
goody two shoes, yes,
or
it's
Mr. Perfect, I used to hate that one.
oh my goodness. It's more fashionable, more in to do wrong. And we talked about how easy it is to do wrong instead of doing good. Okay. Now, chosen, I'm gonna keep coming to you with this one because temptation, especially in your field, in your industry, in music, it's more than just the music. It's the drinking, it's the partying, it's the groupies. Go ahead, because I see you about ready to say something. You got a thought real quick. Go for it.
I mean, it's uh, it's really you're very very right, exactly right. It's temptation is everywhere when it comes to that industry. It's in everything, but this industry is just like really 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 it's really high. So getting you go so even a studio session sometimes, and you go in a studio session and then your
Really?
whole yeah, even a studio session. Sometimes you go into a studio session and some of those studio sessions can be parties. You might go in one studio session, and well, you might go get ready for your studio session, and then your plan is go ahead and go to the studio session,
Leroy said we're
and
all freezing up this morning.
Yeah, because
So
we're
and
talking about a touchy subject.
huh?
FD say because we're talking about a touchy subject.
Yeah, so you go into a studio session, and your plans get derailed because maybe your engineer or your producer got some food, some drink, and your mind is one thing to say, oh, it's gonna be some people coming through here in about 30 minutes, and it's some of their friends,
Mm.
female friends, and all that. So a lot of things can happen, and they can like throw you off if you succumb to the temptation. There's a lot of stuff, but you right in that field is a lot of temptation. They can have you do pretty peculiar things. And what I'm saying peculiar things like, if you don't finish out what you need to finish, then they're how you leaving like, man, unaccomplished. And once again, like I said,
What are some overlooked temptations, FD? I mean, I know we just hit some of the major things, but what are some overlooked temptations?
Like Ice Cube used to say, we be clubbing. I mean, that used to be my thing. You want to go out and have some fun? Shake your thing. Ow. Do what you want to do. I mean, so that used to be one of my biggest things. Boy, I used to love the club. And
So that's like a doorway, right? Is that what you're saying?
well, yeah. I mean, the thing about clubbing is you get to be that person that you're really not. You get to go out there and fake shake your thing. You get to present that person, the party guy or a party girl, the one that has fun. You get to, for I'd say a couple hours out of a night, be somebody else, be that fantasy you.
Mm,
And that fantasy you, for some people, is hard to shake.
okay. So behind closed doors, when you all alone, even those hidden things like having a drink or, just something you're trying to keep away from people, you would classify that as a temptation, correct?
I classify that more as being fake. A
More as
temptation
being
is,
fake.
well, if you're doing it behind doors and you're trying to hide who you are.
Okay.
Now, even me, when I would succumb to certain temptations, I wasn't trying to hide who I was. I was out there. I was like, they were like, "Wait, what you doing here?" I want to have some fun.
So,
So,
well, okay, so just to be fair, we're not saying don't have a good time. Let's be fair about that. We're not saying that, but there's a good time, and then there's a bad good time, is what we're saying.
oh, I understand that, but you have to look at the fact that in most cases, that good time is boring. Now, when you go out there, let's be honest, sin is pleasurable for a
Okay.
season.
I
So,
was getting ready to say it.
it's going to be something that you will give into because it's something that you really wanted to do. And you're thinking, if I do it just a little bit, it'll be okay. And then it always goes a little too far. It always goes a
Mm,
little farther than you wanted it to go. And then you find yourself in that area where you have no business being because
okay.
it's hard to dip your toe into a hot tub and not get all the way
You ain't lying.
That
That hot
too,
tub be feeling good.
yeah, that too, and then and sometimes we can correlate that to like habits too, like
Okay.
habits of some things that you know that you need to break, like some people's time management, it might be a habit with that where you need to do something, but you'd rather do this or um drinking, smoking, all that. And you're trying to, but I think it hits harder whenever you're trying to break that habit and then you find yourself still in that one little old moment where you're by yourself, like Frederick said earlier, behind closed doors. You get there and you get, everybody does this. You get that feeling like, oh man, I'm by myself. Now's the perfect time to do, you get that something telling you, hey, you can go ahead and do it. And then whenever you do, if you do succumb to it, then you're like, afterwards, you're like, it was fun while it lasted, but I feel unaccomplished because this was something that I was trying to break, something I was trying to get rid of. And there you have it. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on how bad you're trying to, I think it hits harder on how bad you're trying to break that habit. So you get tempted to do it because it's like this feels so good. Like you said with the hot tub. You dip that toe in there, it's like, oh man, if you hadn't done it in a while, it's like, oh, I remember this feeling. But why was I trying to run away from it? Why was I trying to run away from it? And then at the end of it, whenever you finally get done with it and you do indulge in it, and you remember after that feel good that it comes right back to you. It's like now I remember why I was trying to get rid of this.
well, they do it really good on TV because they call it the walk of shame.
Mm. Okay, I apologize for any inconvenience. We are getting some comments about the live freezing. I am not certain why we're all freezing.
The subject.
I think, yeah, FD, you're right. We normally have issues when we're talking about things as deep as this. I do believe at one time we lost complete audio. it's it's the work of the what we call the work of evil to prevent the message from getting out. Because any other time we were not having these issues. So I do apologize for the inconvenience. And that was from Linnell. Linnell's telling us that the live is freezing. So is Leroy.
Yeah, I'm seeing it too.
You're
You
saying
just
it as
gotta
well?
good and bad. Yeah, I was seeing it too.
Yeah, but
Like
I've
sometimes
learned
I
one
get
thing.
like,
Once you push through, it stops. So
mm-hmm.
don't focus on that. Let's keep going with the subject matter, and it'll stop on its own. Once you press through, I mean, this happens to me so much that I'm used to it.
Okay. Now, I can't recall which one of you made the statement, but I wanted to. We were talking about dipping into the hot tub. Now, recently this week, I was now if anybody knows me that's close to me know that I've changed the music that I listen to. I listen to my gospel music, my worship music, my praise music. But I went shopping one day. I was in the store and one of the stock guys was playing his music on his cell phone. And oh my goodness, Chosen, I used to jam Genuine like crazy. So he was playing same old G. And I like to drop right there in the aisle. And I could not wait to get to my car because I wanted to jam it myself. So I went to change my playlist and found I had to look it up on my Amazon Music to pull it up. So I'm playing this on my way home, trying to play it on my way home. And for some reason, my connection kept dropping and changing to what I listened to on the radio, 103.7, Air One. So it kept dropping and changing back to my praise station. It would not let me hear this song out. And every time I try to push it to come back to play, it'll skip to a new song. And then before you know it, it drops again. So I could not really enjoy listening to Genuine. Now I had this conversation with my cousin. I was asking him why did he suppose that was, and he said because any foothold, any reminiscing, anything that would take you back to that place to make you remember what it was like is opening the door for temptation. And I could not. I'm like, it's just a song, but doing this topic, walking into that, understanding what was going on. This is what we're saying. Anything going backwards is considered temptation. Anything to take you back off of your journey, off of from the progress that you've made is temptation. True, false? Anybody? You
Yeah,
shaking your head?
I
Yep.
mean, you got to remember everything is 360. So in order to take you back to your beginning, I need to get you to do what you used to do.
Mm. So just a simple
Get you.
thing as listening to a song, because like he said, it's like a sensory thing. You remember the feeling, you remember the excitement, the things you used to do. So reminiscing in that can be a bad thing. And it was strange for me to even, like I said, I love music, but it was strange for me to experience that.
Well, that's because back in the day we used to rejoice to do evil,
Mm.
and back then it was fun. It was great. It was hopping. Wasn't nothing wrong with it. I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing it, but it was fun. It's just like when you're a child and you get caught smoking by your parents, and they make you smoke the whole pack.
Didn't have that experience.
I'm just saying, well, they used to have it on TV. Neither did I.
Yeah,
My
on
mom used to
TV.
hide my cigarettes. But in some cases, the only way to overcome a sin, in certain cases, now I wouldn't recommend that with drugs or anything like that. But in some things you do, sometimes overindulging in it will get you to break it or quit because you remember where you came from and you remember that feeling. The same way you remember that feeling to get into that sin, you got to remember that feeling to get out of that sin that, hey, I left this alone because I know it was no good for me. And I got tired of taking that walk of shame.
Good point. That's a good point. Okay. See, I didn't look at it that way. And when I had that conversation with my cousin, and he was explaining that to me, I was like, like most people, well, it's just a song, or it's just a drink, or it's just a conversation, and this is where I want to go.
That's totally true. It's just a song. It's just a club. It's just this. What it brings out of you is the issue.
Mm,
Well,
mm.
I'll add to that. Whenever like you say something like it's just a song. I would go back to saying how you weren't able to listen to the genuine or listen to what it is. Really, to tell the truth, when it comes to music, well, pretty much when it comes to music, it's
Freezing right there.
because
Yeah.
words are
Yep.
spells.
He was about to say
You
something
know,
real.
yeah, you know how that
Hey,
go.
could you go back and repeat that?
Yeah, go back and
All
repeat
right,
that.
all right. So what back when we say it's just a song or it's just a club, actually when we say it's just a song,
There it goes again.
Yeah, he must have said some good stuff.
That's some good stuff. I'm hanging
go
on.
again. Um,
Look at that.
trying to really not let me be great, huh? It don't
Yeah.
want me to be great.
It don't want you to be great. It don't want you to speak that truth, that realness that's needed out
Yeah.
there.
So
How
it's
about you
not just a
condense it?
song. It's not just a song. It's words and words are spells. So if you
There it
listen
is.
to that, then it takes you like right back to where you were trying to escape from. So it's
Okay.
not just that. It's not just songs.
It's a
Like when people tell
spell.
me it's
Words
the
are a
beat.
spell.
Well,
It's the beat.
why do you like that song? It's the beat. Like the beat draws you in, but then the beat also feed. But while you listening to the beat, you still have to listen to them lyrics. You might not be thinking
There you
about it
go.
right then and there, but later on, when you start thinking that those lyrics start, you say, wait a minute, where did I just listen to?
Yeah. I get exactly what he's
And
saying.
it already
FD,
got you.
you want to piggyback on that?
Well, yeah, he's talking about how well it's all spells, and what they do is they've determined that there are certain beats that get you into that satanic place, you could say, or into the good place. You got
Mm-hmm.
different frequencies and variances in those frequencies that get you to perform different things. Some of it is subliminal. Everything is designed to get you to do what you're not supposed to do. Even when you watch a TV show, there's a reason why you see an old McDonald's commercial, and that's the prettiest Big Mac you ever seen, but you never get one of them Big Macs in your box.
Or you know that, or from personal experience, I eat this Big Mac, and that's like a 10 minute visit to the porcelain, and then you stay away from the Big Mac for so long, and then you see that on the TV, you be like, wait a minute, that bad boy do look kind of good. I ain't had one of them in forever. And then at the end of the commercial, they be like 2 for $5, and you be like,
I'm gonna go get me one.
really? Really? Not only can I get one, I can get two. So then you start rationalizing with yourself, you know what, I got 10 minutes. It'll be worth it. But that's what
Mm.
temptation does. Temptation does a lot of that. It'll get you to temptation can get you to be like, okay, it's worth it. What am I about to give up? Do I really want to go back? It's like, well, I can indulge. Something we know what it is. I'll just leave it at as something telling you, it ain't gonna be so bad. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and indulge in what we used to for a second. We got this under control. Then when you get done and you do it, then it's like, damn, I shouldn't have did that.
So that is like the doorway for adultery as well, right? Like I said earlier, when we rationalize, it's just a conversation. You know,
It's just the conversations.
it's just a
But it's
conversation.
so what the one thing about I think the one thing about temptation is it's the thrill of the risk.
There
Mm,
you go.
It's the thrill of the
mm,
risk. Like that's what speaks the loudest. The thrill of the risk.
okay.
Well, it's like
You
they
know,
say, stolen something isn't quite is just as sweet or sweeter or something like that. It's the idea that you're getting away with something or you're about to get away with something. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to pay attention to it. I haven't done it in a long time. Just this once, and it'll be okay. It is never okay.
mm, okay. So like you said earlier, it's all about getting you to fall into sin, lose yourself. And this is what our series have really been about. I know we've been on spiritual warfare for a while, for a good while. And I'm assuming here that almost everything, as you stated, is geared to get you out of who you are, off your journey, stop you from fulfilling your purpose. And temptation being so wide, you know, in everything, as we stated, everything from what you see, what you hear, what you feel. Um, it's just it's geared to keep you off your journey, keep you from fulfilling your
I
purpose.
got
You have something you want to say right here? Go right ahead.
I got two scriptures. I got James 1:13-15. Let
Okay.
no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. But God cannot be tempted with evil. Neither tempted he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren.
Okay.
Now, the other one is James 1:2-4. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. And I like that part because the entire purpose of temptation is to try to get you to do something that you already want to do.
So you're saying it's already a desire for that person to do.
Well,
So
it says tempted up and drawn away of your own lust. This is something you already want to do. You haven't learned your lesson yet that this is a bad thing. Don't touch the fire, child. Keep your hand out the fire. But now you want to go over there and play with the fire. You want to bring your friend over here and get your little straw sticks and stick it in the fire and see what's going on with the fire. You can't be drawn into something unless it's something you already really want to do. And
interesting.
and
That's
see
an
the whole
interesting perspective.
well, it just tells you that in scripture. Let patience have a perfect work. But see, the patience part of that is you're going to go do it anyway. And then you're going to regret doing it. And then you're going to stay away from it for a while. And then you're going to get drawn in and enticed again. Walk around that mountain one more time. But eventually, you're going to get to the point that you realize that every time you give into this, it's the same result. It's the same
Same
thing
result.
happening to you over and over again. There is no point in indulging because I'm going to end up where I don't want to be. And until you come to that realization, you're going to be drawn away and tempted.
Mm, that just made me be quiet. I don't have anything to say on that one.
But see, that's where growth comes in. That when you start realizing that this is not where I want to be, when this is not, and growth and maturity, it happens with that. How many times are you going to let this thing that has you in captivity take away from what you are destined to be, take away from your dreams, take away from yeah, just like I said, your destiny. How long are you gonna be in captivity of that? So whenever you get stronger and you're able to see it, you start shooting it down like right then and there. But at first, you shooting at it and you missing because you ain't grown and you're not as strong at it right then and there. But after that growth and that skill and knowing what's more important to you, that your dreams and your well-being is more important to you than this thing that's got you, when you get good and skilled at it, you headshot, you sniping it. Right when it rears its head, you sniping it.
Cut it off
And
at
it,
the
and it's
beginning.
done. And yeah, just headshots. You done. You're not missing the shots. You're not aiming off. And because in the beginning your aim is off, you can't even hit the body of it. But after that work, after that building your spirit up, building that resistance and that willpower, we call it willpower, building that up, yeah, you good. You snipe status now. Congratulations.
Well,
All
see,
right, so let's start going into some ways to avoid temptation.
well, I like what
Okay.
Chosen was saying. How there's no way to avoid temptation. So I
Really?
like what chose. No,
Can't avoid it.
you can't avoid temptation. You're drawn away according to your own lust. How are you going to avoid your own lust? They're
Okay,
always with
so
you.
if that's the case, if that's the case, um,
But I was about to add on to what chosen said.
okay, go right ahead. Because I
You
want
ever
to.
notice that when you have your dreams, you're shown your spiritual state? For some people, they say, I had this dream, but I was a baby. Yeah, that's because you're a spiritual baby. And then you have some people say, when I had the dream, I was about 6 or 7 years old. You always see your true spiritual state in your dreams. You have a lot of grown-ups. They say, I don't know why, but I kept dreaming that I was a baby, or I kept dreaming that I was a kid, because spiritually, your maturity level is that of a baby, or spiritually, your maturity level is that of a 6 or 7 year old. Now, if you notice that when you have your dreams and you see yourself, are you ever your age? Don't you always have to find yourself, even when you're speaking to the Most High, trying to remind yourself of how old you are in the flesh, because you're equating that to your spiritual self?
I've dreamed myself in both ways, as a baby, as a child, and an adult. So,
It depends on your situation, correct?
correct.
So, according to your temptation, you're a baby, you're a child, and you're an adult. That sin that so easily besets you, you still a child. The things
Mm,
that you learn to conquer some, as we have learned. You see that in scripture, as we have learned all the time. It's chosen as saying, experience is a harsh teacher, but let patience have a perfect work, because we're gonna go around that mountain one more time until you get this right.
mm.
It's constant training. It's constant training. You're gonna get it right.
Constant training. You're gonna get it right. You're gonna get it
Yeah.
right. Now, the
But how
reason why I
long
was
has
saying, FD, you said that it's impossible to avoid temptation.
Yes,
If that's the case, then people will be falling, like you said, constantly. We wouldn't end up being
that
getting the
is
sniper
exactly
status.
that's exactly the truth, but not the truth. Just
Okay,
like chosen
explain.
said, and just like you yourself have said, we develop a resistance to that which we know hurts us.
there it
Mm-hmm.
Now,
is.
in most cases, when you keep falling into that temptation and you keep getting hurt, eventually you're gonna take your hand out the fire when somebody's trying to put your hand over there. Ow, ow, ow. Eventually, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop letting you stretch my hand out and put it into that fire. I'm gonna be like, hey man, calm down and turn that off.
Be like, be like Ari. Be like, ow, quit it.
Ow,
Ow,
quit it.
quit it.
There you
Leroy
go.
Ow,
says,
quit it.
That's the perfect example.
we have a comment here. Leroy says we should avoid it by never opening the can of worms. When the lid comes off of the can, the worms escape by large numbers, and it makes it just that hard to get every work back in the can, every worm to get back in the can, to get yourself back in line with conquering the temptation that is trying to overtake you, which is what I was about to say.
But I like the way he said, "How can you conquer something you're running from?" You know,
Crickets.
are we freezing? Are we freezing up right now?
Yeah, oh yeah, you know it's a constant freeze. You
How
know it's
can
a
we conquer
constant freeze.
something that we're running away from?
Interesting.
So you can't
What's it? Oh,
avoid those things. You have to say no. You have to have the
you have to
spiritual
face it.
maturity. That's just like when you're sitting there and somebody asks you, "Hey, you want this extra piece of cake?" And you know you done already ate like a full pig. You know if you eat any more, you're gonna bust. You're gonna throw up. You gonna eat the other piece of cake, or you gonna say,
Yeah.
"Nah, I'm good."
You know
Okay,
what?
so go ahead.
You know what? Another example I like to use. Y'all know how I go. Y'all know how my mind is. You ever watch a
Mm-hmm.
show where
I
one of the
knew it.
where the protagonist is plagued by something, and you fighting against something, and it's one of their greatest fears, or it's something that they see, and then they realize, okay, it's not real. It's not okay. It's not real. It's an illusion. It's all in your head,
Okay.
and then that enemy disappears. For instance, we did all seen Freddy Krueger. We done
That's
seen
a
Nightmare on Elm
scripture.
Street. You remember on Freddy Krueger when you remember on Nightmare. I forget which one it was, but they were like, the bad dream is not real. If you turn your back on it, it loses its power.
Oh, that was number two, the Dream Warriors.
I was
That's
just about to
Dream
say
Warriors is three. Dream Warriors is
three.
three.
Dream Warriors is
Okay,
three.
That
so
was
yeah, Dream
three.
Warriors is three. So they were like, if you turn your back on it, it loses its power. But see, everybody was so afraid of Kruger because of what they heard, and in the midst and in the face of it. So this goes back to what you said. How do you avoid temptation? Okay, you needed they needed to sleep, so they knew that if they sleep, they were never going to avoid Kruger. So you had to take back your power. So you take your power back from turning your back on it. So what it is like, hey, if I know temptation is coming and I see the things that, and okay, so if your temptation is the club and you go, you drive down 45 and you see a couple of the clubs or whatever, and it's like you seeing it, you can't avoid it because it's in the way of going where you need to go. You trying to get to a family function at night or something that maybe some people invited you to a party and you got to go that way, but between where you are and your destination, your triggers are right there, so you can't avoid it because you're going to drive right to it, you're going to drive right through it. So the best thing about it is knowing, hey, this is the illusion. I don't have to do this. I don't
You
have
have a
to do
choice.
this. I got a choice. So I can either turn my back on it or I can succumb to it, but then that goes back to correlating to how strong are you in what you're trying to accomplish? Am I gonna let this stop me from getting to this get together where I might have this cousin that really need to see me? I might have this auntie over there that really need to see me. And if I stop this, what'll happen? I might never get to see that family member or ever had this chance to have this. You're not gonna say ever had this chance, but something really, really, really good might happen at this event.
Okay.
If I let this stop me, I might not be able to do that. So that's where you start thinking about not how to avoid, but how to conquer it. Am I going to let this stop me? And that's pretty much it. Turning your back on
Interesting.
it.
Which is also something that needs to be thought about before stepping out on your relationship as well, or going to buy buy
That's a
something
real,
that
but
you
see,
know you don't need.
that's a real big one though. Like when okay, in your relationship, um, and that's a real good one. The greatest temptation on that is, like I said, it's the thrill. It's the thrill of the risk, and then it's the
Okay.
thrill of okay, we'll talk about infidelity about that because that's usually, I guess, one of the big footholds.
And
Um,
rephrase.
huh? What'd you say,
FD,
Frederick?
I think he
Yeah,
froze.
and we freeze. Yeah, and we freeze. Right. So let's say you got a lot of everything is going good on the home front.
Hmm.
Everything's functioning, the kids is good.
I'm gonna
Um,
shut all three of you down.
uh, the kids is good. The financial situation good on the home front, and
Hmm.
that one, maybe that one or two things, maybe that one thing that's not as big, that can be worked on is the only obstacle that you have. But then something else comes along, and that one thing that wasn't so big, now all of a sudden it's like 20/20 vision. And then when you start indulging into that person or that third party, then you start losing sight on everything that's working, and you start focusing on that one thing that might have been missing. So most people don't think that, hey, uh, I'll jeopardize this if I wind up, doing XYZ over
Hmm.
here on the other side where the grass is greener. And then by the time if you do fall into that, you realize what you just did. And now it's like, okay, now I'm in trouble. So that's a real big one. Like, it's a real big one.
That's a matter of
Okay.
impulse
So
control.
impulse
And it takes a
control.
lot, yes. So if you take the time to think about what is at stake, if you take time, what is at stake and what are you jeopardizing, that should help you a lot more to overcome that. But sometimes when that stuff happens, man, you're like, wow, well, what if I get away with it?
Uh,
I guess that's how most people feel like, what if I get away with it?
And we all know you
FD.
never get away with anything.
FD. Leroy has brought
Yeah.
up 1 Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to man, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when
He
you are
gives you a
tempted,
way
he
out,
will
a way
also
to escape.
provide a way out. Okay.
Correct. You want to know what the
Let's
way out of
address
temptation
that.
is? Well, I've already
Let's
said
address that.
the way out
Okay.
is you already know where this is going. You already know where this is heading. That scripture right there basically tells you exactly what you're supposed to do in the cause of temptation. But the thing I'm saying is you can't really run from it because it's going to be everywhere you go. But
Okay.
when you are there, you must choose not to do so. And that is usually according to your level of spiritual maturity. How long have I been in this walk? How long have I been doing this thing? It was easier to stop doing stuff after I've realized that it's stupid. It's going to hurt me. It's going to harm me later on after I've grown spiritually to say no. Whereas in the beginning of my walk, I'm walking around that mountain and I continue this circle, or should I say cycle, where I do it, go ask for forgiveness, then I do it, go ask for forgiveness, then I wait a little bit longer because I've learned to chill, I've learned to get into the scriptures, and I've learned how to get in the spirit. They tripped me up again because I didn't see it coming this way. Okay, now I'm walking around that mountain one more time until I've learned to stay the hell out of that damn desert.
Now, I think we kind of addressed this in our episode going in circles.
Well, that's what temptation is. It's a circle that you have to break.
Mm, interesting. So here we go again. It's a choice. It's a decision. Everything is a choice. Everything is decision. It comes down to your willpower and what you want most. Now, if you're good with constantly every weekend, payday and everything, hitting the club, drinking until you pass out, then that's your choice. That's your decision. That's what you want to do. Go right ahead. But understand that
I disagree.
okay, let's go.
What you're saying is absolutely awesome. You're good with it. Nobody is good with giving in to this thing and letting it destroy my life. But until you hit rock bottom, and learn to say no. I mean, I remember when I first came home from the military, and my mom would ask me to do all of these things that I knew was wrong, but I would go do it because she's my mama. Then she made the drastic mistake of telling me you could have always said no. Oh, what she tell me that for? Oh, no became the biggest word in my vocabulary. Hey, could you go do this for me? No. No.
I told my daughter that. I told my daughter that. And I told her that early.
She gave me the out. The same scripture says, no was my way out. No is your way out. When you're getting ready to go do this thing and you tell yourself, no, we're not going to go do that because this is going to happen. So I just made my choice and I backed it up and confirmed it with my faith because I already know that this is going to happen. I know this is going to be the final deal with this thing. There is no point in me messing up what I got right now because I don't want no parts of what's coming.
Okay.
Now that's different for each individual, how you reject.
What about those that have difficulty saying no?
Well, they better learn how to say no. It took me a while.
I still have a problem sometimes with saying no. I ain't gonna lie. I still have a problem with it sometimes.
But you said sometimes.
But see, the thing about it is some
exactly.
Yes, but see, sometimes, yeah, you get better at it. But see, sometimes it's like whenever you're asked to do something, I know me, I speak for myself. The first time I think like, hey, what harm is it gonna do? I don't have no reason not to do something for somebody so it's like I can't really find a reason to say no.
But they're destroying themselves with this thing that you're assisting them with. Then it's better to say
that right there. But I'm like, but that's like with you up here, top left. Yeah, can you go buy me? Can you go? I need to go to the store go get some cigarettes. Yeah. You know how I am, and I'm like, nah.
Nah, he would
it's
just
easy
never
for me
take
to say. It's easy for me to say no when it's stuff like that. When
because he's not gonna help someone. Yeah,
I'm not finna help you kill yourself. If I come to your funeral, that's called assisted suicide. I'm not finna take part in that.
Oh, You used to drive me crazy with that. Okay. So let's go ahead, hit some bullet points, and wrap up temptation. Recognizing temptation, as we've already stated, temptation is all the way around, no matter where you go, and it's the deepest desire within one. Okay, it's what they are desiring to do anyway. So we've already eliminated spending money, unnecessary money, clubbing, drinking, infidelity. Right? We've
You
hit
hit the
these
biggest
points,
monsters.
and we hit the biggest monsters. All right.
Yeah, you,
So
I would like for you to go back and read First Corinthians, because when I printed out my stuff, for some reason I got a hodgepodge between last week and this week, so it's not on there. But Leroy gave it back to me when he gave you First Corinthians. So how about repeating that scripture again?
no temptation has overtaken you except what is common to man, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. Okay, so
Leroy got another one.
he has another one.
He has something just popped up. Another comment that he had. I think it's a brand new comment. It ain't a rerun. It's a new one.
I haven't seen it as of yet. Okay, so basically, what we're saying is, as FD said, you cannot avoid temptation. You will be faced with temptation. Now, the way out is your decision to turn back from it, to say no, to walk away, as
Exactly. That's
chosen
where what
has
Leroy
said.
says come in. Once
Yes.
it's going to be in your face. And what I've learned a long time ago, if sometimes for us it's the lust of the eyes with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned if I don't look, I don't start thinking. If I don't start thinking, I don't start wanting to act.
So divert your attention away from the temptation.
Yeah, I'll turn away. So
Take
that
your
See,
goes straight
power.
into what Leroy is saying. But I made the choice to do it.
that's why I don't understand. Okay, this is one thing I don't understand. If you're married with someone, why go to the strip club? Why go to the clubs? Why engage in situations or circumstances where the lust of the eyes is, I mean, it's there. You're gonna go to a club and you're gonna see somebody.
You really want an answer?
That's
Yes,
a
please
whole
answer.
man.
That is PRIDE. I'm strong enough to resist. I'm a real man. I don't do nothing unless I want to do it. And then you crumble like
And
a
this
stack of
too.
cookies.
And this too.
So,
Hey, and it's also this too. I'm married. I'm not blind. I'm not dead.
I've heard
yeah.
that. I've heard that.
But guess what? I'm blind. and
So the
I
thing
want to
about
be dead to
and
that.
then yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. So it's like, and I got this a lot too, because normally like in relationships, you find I get I'll put myself out there. When I'm in a relationship and it's just me and that person that person is the only person that I choose to be focused on. And it's like I also become that person that don't like to have that type of fun. It's like I don't put myself in that situation. It's like I won't go to this place because I'm not even gonna take the chance. Like I'm not even gonna put myself there if but most people like, man, you still gotta have fun. You still them same people that be talking about you still gotta have fun, they crumble and they be the ones that be done had the problems.
Mm.
Well,
So it's
I'm glad
like
you used that word. So what is fun spelled backwards?
fun spelled backwards. Enough.
There you go.
No, it's enough. He said it's enough.
Enough.
You had enough fun. Now
I
go and do
didn't
what
had
you're
enough
supposed to
of
do.
this.
Yeah. So it's like, hey man, you know what? It's like, dude, you married, you're not dead. It's like, dude, but if I sit up here and I put myself, if I face myself or go to something I know that where I'm tempted and where I'm uh weak at, then that's my fault. It's my
Mm.
fault. But like you said, it's pride. Like, man, I can go and handle this. I'm gonna go right here. But we think sometimes that sometimes I think people think that If I sit up here and just stay at home and then and I don't do nothing, uh, it's gonna cause another problem. It's you always hear you. When it was like a relationship that I did have where I did that, I didn't do nothing but come home, work, sit in front of my TV, rinse and repeat, and then pay attention to them. It's like, okay, you're not fun. What you mean I'm not fun? Go kick it with your fellas. Go this, okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Go kick it with the fellas. Like, that's fine. I'll go do it, but it depends on who it is that you're dealing with. Are you kicking
Yeah.
it with other
What if
fellas
my
that are
fellas are
married
all
where they
single?
don't? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That kind of
Won't y'all go
stuff.
over here? Okay. But see, now we live in a day to where it's like, okay, me and the boys, me and the fellas going to the strip club. And so I guess to her or to whoever it is, because it can go both ways, it's like you get this feeling, okay, now I'm finna put your faithfulness to the test. And then so when they come home, you start asking them questions. So how many numbers did you almost get? How many times did you get hit on? It's like nowadays people get a rise off of stuff like that. It's like, okay, yeah, you went out there and you was chilling and kicking with them. I love to see how you was withstanding all this temptation and you came home to me. Like, okay, it's like people get a rise out of stuff like that. But that's where you can get some of uh the most damaging results. Something could happen and
Yeah.
you come home and not even talk about it. But
Mm.
guess what? You knew about it. It's in you. If you go out there and just because somebody said you not having that fun and you deserve to go out and do that, you can't say that they pushed you to it. They gave you the okay to go to that club. They gave you the okay to go indulge into that. But guess what? They weren't the ones that made you indulge in champagne room. If you wound up doing the champagne room and you came home and didn't talk about it, you might not have told it to her, or she might not have said it to him, but it happened and you know it. So now you got to live with that just because it was okay. I had fun. I went out there and had fun, and something happened that I didn't count on happening. So
Well,
I
I'm
choose to
You
glad
be
you
did
keep
like,
for
using the
sure.
word fun.
so I choose to be like, well, you know how they say, you know how they put it, but so I choose to
Yeah.
be like, I'll just be boring because whatever it is that might put this at jeopardy, put what I got at jeopardy, it's not worth it. But then again, that's where your maturity level comes in at.
Okay. So there are actually people out there that are strong enough to withstand these tests of temptation. You disagree.
Every dog has his day. And what is God spelled backwards? Dog. It's when men go out there trying to behave as if they are God and they can withstand everything and they find themselves behaving like dogs.
Okay, hold on now. Okay. So Jarrell has a comment. Chosen. You see that comment?
I don't like being on lease because I'm supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be good. I'd rather choose to be good because I trust my lover to take care of my needs. I've said that once before too. I've said that
I prefer the
I
chain.
what it is but see it's not, but I don't look at it as a leash from them. I would look at it as me taking control of how I want to conduct myself. So it's not for
Yeah,
her saying that, hey, you can go do this, or I bet not catch you doing this and this and this. You can say that all you want, but if I made it up in my mind that I'm not gonna do it because this is who I want to be, or this is what I need to be for myself and for my union or for my family, then this is what it is that I'm gonna do. So I set certain things up like that. It's like I don't need to be in these places. I keep confusion down because I won't even put myself in those positions. I'll stop those
exactly.
questions. I'll stop those questions right there, and I'll nip all that in the bud because, hey, guess what? I can't get in trouble if I wasn't there, or I can't put myself in
There you go.
that
There you
predicament if I
go.
never went.
Now that
So it's
shows
like, I mean,
maturity.
I had this one thing before. I was asked in a previous relationship, it was like, you never do nothing. I said, let me ask you this: would you rather me sit in front of this TV and play this game where you know where I'm at, or go somewhere where you really don't know where now you start calling and I don't answer my phone?
Mm,
Something and anything in this world could happen with my phone. My phone probably could have shut off. My phone probably the
mm-hmm.
battery could have died. Many reasons why you can't get to me. But right
You
before
know
you
what I
couldn't get
learned?
to me,
You know what I've
What's
learned
that?
about people that tell you that you never go do something and you never go do fun stuff? Because if you ain't doing it, they don't have an excuse.
Mm.
I learned that too. But that's the thing that I'm saying. It's like, so it's not so much as saying that you're on a leash. It's like, dude, I'm setting these boundaries for myself of what I'm not gonna do so that I won't fall into the footholds that I know that I'm weak against.
Mm.
Like I said, I
So
prefer to
you could
change.
say, so yeah, so you could say, yeah, but yeah, I get it. I prefer the chain too, but I prefer the leash that I put on myself. I'd rather have a leash and a chain that I put on myself so that I can be strengthened. But then nobody else is gonna put me on no leash. So I get what
Well, no,
Jarrell is
I
saying, and
understand
I'm
that, but
like,
I said chain because I know me, so I need to make it strong enough.
yeah, because I know me, so I need to make it to where, okay, I need to do this because if I don't, look at what hangs in the balance. If I don't
There
take
you
care of
go.
this, this is what hangs in the balance, and this is what I have to lose.
I
So
think what Jarrell is really saying is it comes down to a matter of trusting in the aspect that he's looking at it.
Mhm.
yeah. I get that. Yes, I
I
trust
can
you to
see
do
that. I
what
trust you to do
You know
to
what I
do
learned?
good.
What I've learned
I
about
trust you to
trust
take care of.
in a relationship? Don't push the boundaries
Mm.
because
Hmm.
everybody falls in because I thought I could handle it. I thought I wouldn't do this. I thought, yeah, you
Yep.
think a lot of things until you've already done it. Like Chosen say, I can't get in trouble if I ain't there.
Oh, I'm really digging this.
If
Go
I
ahead,
don't give
Chosen.
it the power, if I don't give it the power, then it's powerless.
There you
But
go.
if
Mm-hmm.
I do give it the power, it has a very, very high chance, a very, very high chance of overpowering me. But
Okay.
humans, they always want to push the boundaries. Humans are gonna always want to push their boundaries and say, okay, I can handle this and I can take care of that.
Well,
Then look what
I'm glad I'm a
happens.
God fearing man and not a human.
Okay. I've heard that one as well.
Yep.
I've heard that one.
Well, you know what I say about humans. You obviously know what I say about humans. So I mean,
I
but
even
what I
wanted to
say
do a
about
lesson on humanity is a lie. It's hubris man,
hubris,
prideful
man.
man.
Yeah.
All
So
right. So Leroy has a comment. Every day we are to carry our cross and crucify ourselves daily. That means that we all have our issues in dealing with temptation, but when we fall into diverse temptations, we should deal with it daily throughout the day until we can get a grip on our giving into certain desires. Okay, so Jarrell, he is comfortable making his own leash. Okay, so this is the gist of it. We are supposed to bear our cross, die to the cross every day. We are supposed to do that daily. Leroy and I had that conversation about forgiveness every day, asking for forgiveness
mhm,
every day, uh,
mhm.
carrying our cross every day. We all have our inner desires that we face, our inner temptations, that willpower we have to dig. And sometimes there are plenty of us that have to dig deeply for the strength to avoid these temptations, to fall in temptation. Now, I was bringing up that willpower when I asked you if that was possible. For, is that possible to have
The
that
only
type of will?
reason that I hear people, I believe that it is, but I also believe that we're not supposed to lie to ourselves.
Okay.
Uh, I'm very strong willed, but there are certain things. The Bible says that there's a sin that so easily besets you. So if you know you always lose, why would I go engage you in battle?
Okay. That's fair enough. All right. That's our show today. Thank you for joining Coffee and Convo Houston. Topic recognizing temptation. We hope you got something out of this today's show to elevate you to the next level. Any last words, real quickly, anyone?
Only scripture.
Okay. One thing there was a comment that you had said that Jarrell put it. You said comfortable making your own leash.
He is comfortable
Yes.
Well,
making his own leash.
okay. Well, when you say leash, I correlate the word leash as to discipline, your self discipline, where you will
Well,
not go. And
Well,
so Jarrell is one of my very, very intelligent brothers. So I just want to clarify, when I say, like I said, when I say leash, it's more of self-discipline. It's, hey, I'm not about to let this happen to me, so I'm gonna put a halt on a lot of
indulge.
things. It's almost like this.
Exactly.
If I'm doing time management, yeah, I'm putting the like if I know that I gotta do something, it- and it's hard for me to be disciplined about certain things. If I know that I need to go record this music, but I get lazy sometimes and I pick up a controller. So what I wind up doing is, okay, you know what? Let me go unplug all these power cords to these game consoles. Let me go put these controllers in a box so that every time I think about doing that and I try to find it and it's not there, then I can go ahead and be like, okay, this is what's available to me. So that's to me is what I'm talking about when I say like a leash on myself, that
Yeah.
self-discipline. Okay, I need to put away these things that's going to deter me away from the things that I need to be doing. So,
Okay.
or
Self-imposed
if I know
physical
I need to be,
controls.
yeah. So if I know I need to be, certain things that I need to do in my union or whatever. If social media is one of them things, I need to deactivate that social media. I need to deactivate all the things that might cause me to do those. Though. That's what I'm talking about, creating my own leash. Because if I know
There you
I'm
go.
weak to these things and I need to discipline myself to them, those are the things that I need to do.
All right. Thank you for joining. Enjoy your Sunday.
God bless.
God bless.